What's up, guys? Bullfight the Fell-Handed here, bringing you the Way of the Derp Part 10. Fisherman's Bay War Standard Battle KV-2 Tier 6 Soviet Heavy Tank 152mm derp cannon. Now, the greens have spawned on the southern spawn, the reds have spawned on the northern spawn. I have a squad of 3 KV-2s with me, and the idea here is we are going to the city. The KV-2 does not really have the gun depression nor inclination to push the middle. That's typically where your lights and your mediums go to spot targets. At the same time, we didn't really want to push a 1 because we had a fear we would not have a designated spotter. If you want a designated spotter, make sure a yellow is in a medium or light. That way you'll have spots. Not really a good thing to depend on the greens, although sometimes you do have to. We are making our way into the city here, and the idea here is we are going to try to control the city, going to try to derp anyone we see right out of the city, and that way that will give us a good foothold on the right flank. And the idea here is once we get done with the city is to push up, do a left hook, take the cap area, and then just kind of spread out and finish off any remaining reds that we find. That's in theory what we're going to do. Now granted, theory may not have anything to do with it. It may not actually happen, but that's what we're going to do. So we give the guy right there off the gate a good derp. We're in a good hold down position, and the idea here is you know, you want to maintain this, but at the same time you want to advance. We have greens advancing here, so I'm not really worried about getting shot because typically whomever is shooting will fire at the targets closest to them. So that's kind of my idea, that the greens will take the rounds for me. And that's always more or less what you need to be thinking about. Say, hey, how can I get the greens to take the rounds for me? And it's not really being selfish, it's called good tanking. Because if you know, you've ever played a game, sometimes the greens are more deadly than the reds, because at least you know where the reds stand. So we're going to try to put a shot in this knight. He's being a little wily. We go ahead and decide that, you know, it's not going to happen. Let's go ahead and move on. Now, we're going around the back here. We're going down the 8 line. We're pushing their cap area. And, you know, we're going to come up behind them. I'm still taking rounds from the mediums or the lights, pushing the middle there. I'm not crazy about it, so I'm starting to turn the tank around to where I can actually get some decent shots in. There's that fucking knight still pooping on me. So finally, I made a clutch shot and ended up connecting with him and getting him off the board. Very troublesome tank for little old me, because he just would not leave me alone, and I don't blame him. Who wouldn't want to shoot at a big, slow, soft moving target? You know, and I say soft because most of the time you're not going to bounce anything in this tank. Maybe that's just because people run premium rounds, gold rounds, what have you, but whatever. A pin is a pin, it doesn't really matter. So we have a gentleman back here getting shot. I'm getting spotted damage, which is just absolutely crazy. But what are you going to do? So, scoping a guy right here. If you've got good side shots on him, go ahead and derp him. Did a pretty decent amount of damage there in the side. I'm kind of on my last leg. I am very nervous about poking out, because I know if I poke out, I'm going to get shot, I'm going to get killed, I'm going to go back to the garage and be all sad. So, the idea here is, you know, we would take, at this moment, we would take very risky, not risky, excuse me, clutch shots. We'd pull out, we'd right shoulder, we'd fire, we'd pull back in. Because what's going to happen is, if you aim in, you know, you're going to say, oh, just another second, let me aim it in, and then, you know, by that time, the red would return fire. So, you know, clutch shots, you don't really have a long time to aim, what have you, but at the same time, you minimize your risk. So it's a calculated risk. End up one-shotting that guy. That was fantastic. Derped the mess out of him. So right now, you know, we're in their house, we're rolling through, and it's essentially mop-up duties. and my main goal is to end the game alive. I just mainly want to stay alive. I'm a one-shot. I want to keep the derp running, keep things happening. That's what I'm looking for as a personal goal. I'm spotted. I don't know from where. I'm not crazy about it. We've got a guy over here on the right. Gonna see if we can't give him a little bit of long-range derp here. He's getting ready to take off. It's really hard sometimes to hit moving targets with the derp, but however, we were successful. We ended up catching him as he was moving. Luckily, he turned there at the last minute and headed towards us. If they're going, you know, lateral towards your position, lateral across your position, extremely difficult to hit. If they're going straight towards you, very easy to hit. Just a little FYI. If you know somebody's out there, start doing your laterals. You know, you never want to really drive straight towards somebody. If you do have to drive straight towards somebody, do it at an angle and shift constantly, left to right, left to right. Not like a crazy angle. You don't want to necessarily go like a 45-degree angle, but like, you know, 12 to 15-degree angle would be ideal, because that way you would be going at an angle and then all of a sudden you turn and shift. You know, I've done it in the faster tanks and it confuses people for some reason. Now, there's only one guy left on the board. And, you know, I think we all know the probability of me catching up to him is slim to nil. But we're trucking anyway. You know, we're KV2s. We're just going to keep pushing. So the game is more or less over. And, you know, we've had a good game. We've got some good kills. We've done some good damage. We've done things. We have more or less secured victory for the rest of the team by taking the town there. Of course, they helped us secure victory by not having a strong presence there. So it's 6 of one, half dozen the other. We did well because they let us do well, if that makes any sense to you guys. I'm sorry if it doesn't. But now we're moving through the middle of the village here. This is one of the few times you'll ever catch myself and KV2 actually rolling through the middle here, because this is typically belongs to light medium tanks. And you know, when you're in the end stages of the game here, essentially all you're doing is just biding your time. You don't want to be the guy that gets killed right before the guy goes out, because you know that's going to mess up your survival rating, your kill death, you know, the whole nine. So if at all possible, don't die. Just, you know, if you have to, just hide in a corner somewhere, just as long as you don't die. We're going to try to get this last derp. End up tapping him. Didn't really do a considerable amount of damage, and then derp comes out of nowhere and completely annihilates him. So it's a fun tank. It's a very fun tank. I would highly recommend the derp. 2,399 damage, 0 blocked. End up doing some assisted damage that game. So it surprised not only you, but myself as well. Thank you for watching.